everyone. Happy Saturday to whoever is, well, hopefully, all of you are enjoying your weekend. And yeah, hopefully, you're looking forward to whatever is left of it. You're looking forward to this episode, and you're looking forward to, both of us just sharing some deep, curated insights into three topics that we have, kind of shortlisted for the day. Um, yeah, some of this is news that makes very little sense, and like you just have to peel the layers of the onion to try and get what it is that's actually happening versus what you read on the headline. And then some of this is almost like a relief that we've been wanting for a long time, especially here in Canada. So, JD, what are your thoughts about our topics today?
I think we have a really good lineup, and yeah, can't wait to get into them. Hello everybody from sunny California. I know Abhijit can't say the same thing, but I'm sure he's his bubbly self as always. And uh, yeah, uh, been an interesting week so far. We actually had to cull a few stories. So these are what we selected. So yeah, let's go through them, Abhijit.
Okay, let me pull up what we have. So, yeah, first on the menu, basically, Elon Musk went to Elon Musk, asked if Elon Musk could invest in Elon Musk's company and buy the company so that Elon Musk and Elon Musk can unlock some synergies together and make more money. So, JD, what do you
Basic.
think? How well did I summarize that?
I think you summarized it perfectly. That's exactly what's happening here. To give a background to the people who are not aware of this, um, so Elon Musk is basically merging his two companies, not Tesla. So one is the XAI, formerly known as Twitter, and the other one is SpaceX, which everybody knows fires rocket into space. So this would be worth $1.25 trillion, and this is going to really be, I guess, like the biggest IPO ever. But the main issue here is, yeah, as you said, Abhijit, like it's just Elon Musk dealing with Elon Musk on Elon Musk. Um, so if you scroll down, the interesting thing I found was that um, he is basically going to uh, merge these two to create a space AI firm. So what that means is just building AI data center in space. That's his vision. But we can talk about like what the actual thing is. But yeah, Abhijit, any thoughts?
I mean, I don't know why he needed to merge them. He could have just done it without merging them. It's his companies. I think so. When they say IPO, is it gonna be the IPO of like a combined company?
Yeah, I think
Like,
so. Yeah. So he's already merged them. So by
oh,
Jan
okay.
end,
So
he
now
merged
it's just
them.
gonna be a separate. Okay. So, I mean, I kind of have a feeling that the deal was very fast tracked. Um, yeah, it's the valuation is probably way higher than what the fair valuation would be. Now, I was recently listening to Eric Weinstein on Ranveer Alabadia's podcast, and there he mentioned, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not quoting him, but I am paraphrasing. So he mentioned that, a lot of the companies and, all these companies that have these LLMs, they have their own private versions where those are the unhinged versions of the models that the normal public uses. So he brought up a very interesting point. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I'm compelled to believe it a bit. One sec, guys. Yeah, okay. So he said that if you look at the logo of Grok, it actually looks like a black hole, like the accretion disk around a black hole. So maybe Elon is using the unhinged, his private Grok, as more or less Jarvis from the Marvel movies. Again, this sounds like it does. I have no way to prove it, but I also have no way to comprehensively disprove it, because the logo of Grok does look like a bloody black hole accretion disk, right? And there is this whole branch of physics which is into, apart from just, theory of general relativity, there is this whole branch of physics which is getting into how you can time travel, or how you can travel across the cosmos without necessarily using all these propulsion techniques that we rely on. Now, say SpaceX at the end of the day is a rocket making company, right? But by today's technology, you can basically not make a rocket that can traverse the solar system, even that can even traverse the whole solar system in a reasonable time. Let's say you figure out how to keep humans alive and everything, it will still take years and years to even get past the solar system. I have a feeling there is something behind the scenes when it comes to, especially to Grok and XAI, that we don't know about, and we will not know about till it comes out into the open. The the public focused, or the public facing mission statement of SpaceX is, okay, they want to add Astra, right? But what Astra have they done till now? There is Elon keeps talking about wanting to go to Mars. That is not a star. That is just the closest planet to us. So this is just my thinking that there's a lot behind this thing apart from just the finances and the fact that, you know the collective. I think the collective of SpaceX and X need to sort of pay down a lot of debt, and this becomes a good way to sort of be able to retire some of that. But I also think there is a version of Grok that is so far advanced that having it closely linked with SpaceX will actually start yielding results in the direction of quote unquote ad Astra. Again, this could very well be a conspiracy theory. I'm open to taking that feedback. You can call it complete rubbish, but I don't take a person like Eric Weinstein too lightly. Like, here, and again, I'm paraphrasing, so I may have misunderstood him. I'm open to all that criticism. Like, we're not sponsored by Ranveer Alabadia or Eric Weinstein, to say the least, right? But this is just my theory on this, because at the surface, this merger makes, well, I don't know why it had to happen. It's like, again, Elon Musk merging with Elon Musk. So, but again, there are two boards. Maybe you'll see a culling on the boards, wherever there is redundancy, maybe some board members will have to forfeit. But again, board members generally come with equity holdings, so you can't really throw them out. But I guess if you're Elon, you can, because he threw out what, 70% of Twitter in one day, so or in one week or whatever. So only time will tell. But I really think there is more behind this than what meets the eye. That's all I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I think there are two parts to this, right? Like, there's the financial part. So Elon Musk has done this in the past. So what I mean by that is there used to be a company called City, and the Elon Musk kind of bailed it out because it was his solar panel startup. It got acquired by Tesla, and so Tesla also acquired all the debt, right? And then Tesla, obviously being Tesla, refinanced that debt, and now it's magically gone. um, I think same happened with his acquisition with Twitter. So he bought Twitter with a lot of debt, I think $20 billion worth of debt. Then he rebranded it to XAI. So basically, he said, "Oh, I'm going to build these giant data centers, and I'm an AI company because for data, I have the Twitter data," which I think is a smart move. But then all that debt got rolled over, and uh, he collected more debt for building these data center. So now XAI has a lot of debt. Now he's going to merge it with SpaceX, which is kind of leaner but still has debt from building all these expensive rockets. And now he's going to go to public and make that debt disappear, or actually the people who are holding the debt can now also participate. So I think that's the Elon Musk way of doing business. I mean, I feel like he's really smart at doing this. So that's the financial part. The other part is what you said, Abhijit, like Grok. So like, what is Grok actually doing? Is Do they have a model that's actually way smarter than what's out in the public? I also subscribe to that theory. Like 100%, there might be like some form of Grok that is built only for Elon, and he can tap into that and do a lot of things that the public can't do. Um, but again, like, uh, it is out there. Like, it is a big competitor to other AI models like Gemini from Google, OpenAI, Anthropic. So I think what he's doing is correct. But I don't know about this AI data center thing that he's talking about. He's basically saying we are going to fly rockets and build these giant AI data centers, so like GPUs powered by solar panels, and they're going to be in space always, and somehow they're going to work in space. I don't know if that's possible, because imagine, like, these are really expensive GPUs, right? Even if you could power them in space, how would you cool them? Like, space is a vacuum, right? And how would you repair them if something goes wrong? Are you just going to throw away these expensive GPUs? Like, what do you feel, Abhijit? Like, are AI data centers possible in space?
Look, potentially they can be, right? When we think about being in a vacuum, you just have to enforce a draft of air so that you can cool them. But you have to also remember the reason we need to cool the data center is because the ambient is very hot. Now, if you're sitting on Mars or the moon and you have a data center, it's already freaking cold. So, the amount of cooling hypothetically needed would be far lower than having a data center in California where it's goddamn hot. But then the argument comes up, then why not build it in the Arctic? Maybe that's why Donald Trump wants Greenland, right? And or see, right now I think this is maybe slightly more advanced than drawing paper stage, like, just paper and pencil stage. It's more of a, like, there are vibes of that one. I did this one live, right, where there was a set of news articles that came out about a month back on how a bunch of these AI CEOs are coming and saying, if you don't make money in the next 5 years, you'll have nothing left. So start building your businesses today. Otherwise you won't be able to. You'll make no money. You'll have no generational wealth. And I peeled that onion a bit, and I saw that the market for secondaries is actually going up in the Silicon Valley. And the reason for that is, and for those of you who don't understand what a secondary is, let's imagine that JD opens up a fund where he has taken 100 million from a bunch of people and he has put them in some startups. He's a venture capitalist, right? Now, if I am one of those investors and I want to take my money out, JD will try and get someone else to buy my share. That's a secondary sale. The market for secondaries is gaining traction in Silicon Valley to try and generate more liquidity. The reason you need more liquidity is because you're not finding cool enough ideas to have a primary investment in. One, two, you may not just be having that flow of capital that you were seeing in the 2021-2022 era, right? Because cost of capital has gone up, and US has to keep inflating to retire the $38 trillion. Shit's just gonna get more expensive in US, whichever way you look at the economics, right? Coupled with that, as the standard of living all over the world has just gone up, you just have more options from a startup ecosystem perspective. You are a two people company, you have some crazy innovative idea. Do you really need the level of Silicon Valley capital to even start scaling up? You may need it eventually once you're, let's say, at a Series D or a Series E round of financing, right? So then I kind of joined some dots and said, okay, they're just trying to generate liquidity in Silicon Valley. They're trying to get some urgency so that more companies get founded and then, liquidity increases. So I think this data center news, coming back to these data centers in space, I think there may be some concepts which have been drawn out on paper, maybe even modeled in a CAD software somewhere. I just don't think we're going to see them anytime soon. And by soon, I mean in the next 10-year time frame. Maybe in 20 to 30 years, we will see data centers in space. I think one of the things that will have to be looked at is, okay, even if you hypothetically have a data center sitting on Mars or the moon, and you have an AI model sitting there and there's a bunch of API calls being made to it, what is the time lag between when you send the signal and when you receive it in the world where we need real time output? Like you type to ChatGPT, at least if you're just having a text based conversation, the response is pretty much instant, unless you have like a research bot or something deployed. If it's an image, you want like a response in maybe a minute. That will have to be sorted out in some way. Because right now, if you will have signals traversing the space, they will have to go on the electromagnetic spectrum, which is then the speed of light. And right now, we haven't broken that barrier. So then you can forget your near real time, right? Like, I don't know how many astronomical or how many light years is Mars away from Earth. But just to put that in perspective, right? Light from the sun, and again, light waves travel on the electromagnetic spectrum, takes about 8 minutes to reach the Earth, which is about 150 million kilometers, which is considered one astronomical unit. So it'll take time. Like you'll have to literally come up with technology that can somehow still get you information in real time, potentially even if you have a data center sitting in another on another heavenly body, essentially. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on the claim. There is a little
Cool.
bit of there is a little bit of fiction, and then there is a little bit of reality, and the rest of it is unknown unknowns at this point, or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
combination of known unknowns and unknown unknowns. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a usual with Elon, whatever he does. But let's
exactly.
see how this unfolds.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go to the next one for the day. Okay. I will go to our friendly truck driver in Humboldt, um, who is a Humboldt bus crash closer to deportation. Lawyer says the decision means CBSA is now under a legal obligation to deport Sidhu to India. I'll just so basically this was a Humboldt Broncos bus crash in Saskatchewan. This happened 8 years ago. So this literally happened before I came to Canada. Like I came to Canada in 2019. This probably happened like 2018. Um, Nearly 8 years ago is closer to being deported from Canada. So it looks like this gentleman 8 years ago was in some sort of on some sort of a temporary status. He caused a crash, and then it took 8 years for the Canadian judiciary uh, to get to this point where this gentleman, or maybe not such a gentleman, but this person will be deported back to their home country of India in this case, right? I think we need to address the the length of time that it has taken, and I think the this whole I think most of this time just went in not being able to do much just because there was an administration, and or maybe even the judges, right? Like they literally were looking at merits of any case, and they were factoring in the legal status of the person in Canada, and actually reducing the sentence if their status was in any way temporary, which is a very intellectual sounding piece of bullshit that we have seen in Canada for the past 10 years, barring maybe last year, because we have seen some actions which are, which seem to be in the correct direction. I don't care where someone comes from. There are two things as immigrants, or I guess maybe a couple of things that as immigrants to any country, Canada, US, UK, Australia, doesn't matter, New Zealand, or even UAE for that matter. If you are living as an expat in some country, your moral obligation, your moral duty is first to the laws that are applicable to you in your host country. One. Two, any action you take in that foreign country is going to be seen as representative of everyone else from your home country, regardless of you not regardless of the other people who may actually have nothing to do with you, right? India is a huge country, right? Like JD grew up in Delhi, I grew up in Mumbai. These two cities are separated by, I would say, about 1,000 kilometers, maybe even more than that, right? And we both come from vastly different parts of the country, but if I were to do something wrong and get caught for it, the whole Indian community will be seen in a particularly negative way. And then all the innocent ones also have to, own or also have to face the um, the wrath, quote unquote, of the surrounding people, or of maybe quote unquote the natives, right? No matter where you're from, in my opinion, you violate the rules of your visa, you should be deported. There should not be too much of a there should not be too much there should not be too much fuss over this. In fact, in the US it's pretty much the opposite. If you're on a temporary status, you get caught doing some rubbish, man, I don't even know if maybe you have a case or something, a small hearing or something, but you are told to leave. And I'm okay with that. I support that. I'm like, I'm here as a guest. I need to behave like a guest till I become, some sort of a permanent resident. And then beyond that, I become like a naturalized citizen, right? And even after becoming a naturalized citizen, you have to remember you will always be a representative of your country of origin. Because ultimately, no matter how much English you learn, especially if you go to an English speaking country or whatever local language you learn, you will speak it with an accent and people will catch on that where you came from. It's okay, no one's going to judge you for that, but you psychologically, in their minds, then become a representative of your home culture, even if you are naturalized. So it is a responsibility on all of us to, do well, play by the law. Yes, you want a change, then you go through the right channels, democratic channels, and not do shit like this. JD, over to you.
Yeah, no, I totally 100% agree, like I read like I was just looking at some social media and news outlets in Canada who are still debating should he be deported or not. And that's crazy because in the US, like you would be deported in an instant if you do anything like this or even lower. Like right now, if you're a student or even on H1B work visa, if you get caught in a DUI, like even like driving under influence or not paying your taxes or things like that, you will get deported. Like it's straight up. It's when you apply for any visa for any country, it's written there like you can be deported if you do these things. Like it's the law. So I don't get like why people are still debating this. um I looked at this case and it's crazy. Like he killed 16 people. Like there was a beloved hockey team in a bus, and he just yeah, he rammed through them and he killed them. And his defense is that, oh, I was a new driver, so I'm sorry, but that's what I did. Which is not enough. It's not going to bring these dead kids and other people back, right? Their life is gone. So I think he should go back. He should not be allowed here. I see that his lawyers are arguing on a couple of fronts. One is um, they're saying he has some kind of kid with mental issues, so that's why they should not send him home. He won't be able to take care of him. Well, s- take it with him. Take it with him back to India. Like he's your kid. I mean, why are you fighting to stay in a country that doesn't want you? Uh, there's another argument. They're saying like they're trying to. So I think his PR was revoked, permanent residency. They're trying to get it back. His lawyers. So basically, like this case has taken 7 years because of these small little roadblocks here and there, and it's sad. It's sad for the whole Canadian system. It's sad for the country of Canada. Like, if a case as clear cut as this takes 7 years to get through the court system and for him to be deported, which, mind you, like he still hasn't been deported. I'm sure his lawyers is trying to extend this as long as possible. Like, how? difficult it would be for other cases, like what if you kill one person, what if you injured somebody, what if you raped someone, like those kind of cases. Are immigrants allowed to stay in their host country? I don't think so.
I mean, okay, I'm not okay. If he has a child with complex medical issues, then actually there is no better place than India to get affordable healthcare, right? Like, we just had a horrifying case in Edmonton late last year, November last year. 8 hours, a person is looking for medical attention. When finally he gets it, collapses and passes away on the spot. So this whole medical issues, I again, of course, the article is not going to mention what those issues are, and I really hope and pray that these issues get sorted for the child. But Canada is anyway struggling for doctors, so that I just don't know how that holds any water. India has some of the best affordable healthcare in the world, right? So, to me, that particular case, it doesn't hold too much water. But again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just speaking from a layman's perspective. I'm not speaking from a legal perspective. The crash that this person caused killed 16 people and injured 13. If you are a new driver and you're doing such a job where you are driving a semi trailer, then you should have had the appropriate training before you were even given that license. So I think this needs to then go back to the driving school, one that trained him, two, whatever whatever agency gives out licenses in Saskatchewan for this kind of work, right? And this whole chain needs to be looked at, because just last couple of years we have had a string of rubbish driving schools that are giving very untrained and unsafe people licenses to drive these 18-wheeler trucks. We had a case in Florida. We have had a couple of cases in Ontario where on the highway you just see all these trucks skidding off. One guy was trying to take a U-turn, um, and more often than not, these people are from India. It's a shame, but that is the truth. Even that Florida incident was an Indian dude, and that's when that's you could call that the exhibit A of all the ice related uh, ice related projects you're seeing in the US. You could call that as then they started realizing that okay, there is just too many people unaccounted for. Now there has been overreach on the other side as well, which I can't necessarily deny that, but I'm saying if you had to go back to that genesis, the starting point, it was that case that riled up the people, right? The problem is Canadians hardly get riled up about anything, so it it doesn't come out in the open. But even the Canadian government has reported that about 400 people are being deported every day, and a crime like this, it should be an open and shut case. Uh, so I guess guys, we can move to the last one for the day now. Another Canadian hot topic coming your way. Let's see. Now this is we took it from an opinion piece, but the case itself is real. Corrupt cops betray the oath, the badge, and public trust. But the handful of Toronto officers facing charges in Project South do not define thousands who serve their communities honorably. JD, do you want to take this to start?
Sure, yeah. So I think uh, what the basic premise of this is that some officers, um, they were doing some corrupt things, and I know, like, Abhijit, you can go into more detailed on this, but yeah, they've been trying to do like some crazy things. Like there have been many instances like this in Ontario, and that's why this columnist is saying like there was this big Project South investigation that found a lot of like dealings between um, these Toronto officers and drug smuggling operations. So there's a really nice chart in the story, like by the numbers. So if you scroll down, yeah, this one. So it says by the numbers, seven current and one former officers charged, and then there are 18 other suspects who are linked to this. And yeah, like it's basically revealing that these Toronto cops accessed personal information and leaked it to an organized crime group. Now, that is crazy. Like, if you think about it, this is like some mafia shit happening in Toronto. And I'm just wondering, like, what is happening? Like, why is like Toronto being run this way? Like, is this some new stuff, Abhijit, or has this been happening for a while?
See, when I came to Canada for visiting, for as a tourist, for visiting purposes, this was back in 2015, and I was there for 3 days, 3 4 days in Toronto. Obviously, not enough to make a sound judgment on, what the case of the safety was, but you would constantly hear of Canadian cities as being some of the safest in the world, right? Then I went on a work project to Montreal for 2 months. This is 2016-17, right? And even there, people would tell me that, up until 5 6 years ago from then, they could leave their house doors unlocked and it would still be fine. No one's going to come and steal stuff. My argument here is that, to me, from what I know, this is a fairly new occurrence across Canada. Well, I don't know about corrupt cops, but crime in general has gone up in many forms. And that is because there are too many people who were let in way too easily without a comprehensive check on what their, you know, personality profile is like. Can they productively add to the Canadian society or not? Eventually, some of these people may have gotten into the police force, or well, some of these people have become some sort of criminals. On the other hand, what has happened is, because you have so many people, all the systems across Canada are facing a lot of stress, which has then increased the cost of everything. Cost of living has just gone up to the point, and this is where it is a hypothesis, to the point that the salaries the cops are getting is not enough. Like, why does corruption happen in the first place? It's because whatever job you're doing is not enough to, one, help you pay your bills, and to, reach these, what I call, quote unquote, the middle class dreams. Can I own a house? Can I have a car? Can my kids go to a decent school? All these things, all the expenses that come up as you grow older and you go through life, the salaries are not able to satisfy those. And then in that pressure, some cops broke down. I don't think this is, by a long shot, I don't think this is in any way a representative sample, or this is representative of RCMP or any other police force across Canada. It's still a pretty overall a very decently well governed country with a fairly high standard of living, even after all the pressures of the last decade. And personally, I am seeing many signs of recovery. We still have a long way to go, and this is one of those news stories that help us understand that we have a long way to go in terms of financial and economic recovery. I'm seeing some things go in the right direction, like international student visas cut down. um, you know Housing bubbles are literally melting, which is a great thing, especially in the greater Toronto area where this incident has happened. um, I've been seeing a lot of rubbish online where people are saying, "Oh, prices are still not down. Why did we stop international students?" Prices won't come down just because you have fewer people. Prices will come down if people stop buying shit and if they find it too expensive. Your grocery store is not going to reduce prices if they are still finding buyers. But the bigger expenses of life, like home ownership, though they are definitely falling, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I see this incident more as a reminder on how much work needs to be done rather than a general rule on where we are in Canada. And by that, what I mean is if at some point there will have to be a readjustment within the market to the extent that the government lets the market play out, right? Because the one issue we have in Canada is just too much government interference in everything. Like, there are too many places where the government is in the business of doing business, which just never helps. Like here in BC, we have we have a government agency which is responsible for all our uh, driver's licenses and everything, which is fine. That happens everywhere, but also insurance, which is pretty like, why why do I need a government agency to sell me automobile insurance? Like, that's yeah. Ontario tends to be the most capitalism friendly province of Canada, but that then also by and large implies that the cost of living is the highest in Ontario. And at some point, the mismatch becomes too much, and then you have um, and then you have an incident like this. So that's my take. Like, I don't think this is representative, but I also think that there is more than just a couple of corrupt cops that need to be looked at. It's more of a systemic issue, because if we weren't hearing of such things in Canada, 10 years ago, then something has fundamentally changed. And I feel at the heart of this is cost of living. And then if you peel that onion even more, it's just housing. You literally are not paying enough salaries to or paying salaries that are high enough for anyone to be able to afford decent housing. And when your basics are threatened, you do stupid shit just to try and be able to get to them. Your fight or flight response kicks in, and then you do what you can to make your extra dollar, and then you get news like this. So I think, yeah, it's a reminder on how much work needs to be done. um, and yeah, this year is going to be a huge test. Kazma is up for review. So we'll see how that pans out. There has been a trade deal with China, which may or which could lead to something good, at least on paper, but only time will tell on how practical that is in terms of reducing our cost of living for the ones who live in Canada. So, any closing thoughts on anything?
Uh, yeah, just for closing thoughts, yeah, I also feel like, all these people, they get into these gangs and drugs. I feel like, yeah, like it happens for three reasons, according to me. Like, one is like obviously lack of education. All these people, they're not the brightest of the bunch. The second are broken family. So it's like a cycle. If they're, if the people around them or their families are into this, they'll get into this. And then the third one, which is very applicable here, and what you mentioned, is unemployment. Like unemployment among youth is really high in Canada. So obviously, like people would want to make a buck and earn their living, and then they go into this is very fancy, very glamorous, and that is what needs to be stopped, because you can see like gang members are becoming or influencing police agency, and that is not what you want. So I hope this gets resolved, but those are like my 2 cents.
All right, guys, with that, we come to a close for all our topics today. So we draw to a close for Wasted Wanderers episode 4. Hope you guys liked what you heard. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and spread the word. Spread the good news or the bad news or the ugly news, as you wish to put it. But please do give us a subscribe. It doesn't take much, completely free. We are not big enough yet to start opening Patreon accounts, so I think that's one reason we are still just requesting subscriptions. But yeah, do let us know what you liked, what you didn't like in the comments. And yeah, we are happy to learn and continue going. Take care.
All right, see you guys. Bye bye.